Story 1. I was traveling alone for work and booked a cheap roadside hotel in Nevada because I only needed a place to sleep for one night. The building was old. The hallway lights flickered slightly, and the front desk clerk looked tired when she handed me the key, telling me my room was at the end of the hall next to an emergency exit, which felt a little unsettling, but I didn't think much of it at the time because the place seemed quiet and almost empty. And that silence was exactly what I wanted after a long drive. Round 2:30 in the morning, I woke up to a faint sound that felt out of place, like someone tapping slowly, not on my door, but on the wall beside my bed. 3 taps, then a pause. Then 3 taps again. And as I lay there listening, I realized the sound was coming from the room next to mine, a room I hadn't seen anyone enter since I arrived, and when the tapping stopped, I heard what sounded like whispering through the wall, low and careful, as if whoever it was didn't want to be heard. The next morning I asked the front desk who was staying in the room next to mine, and the clerk immediately looked confused before telling me that room was out of order and had been empty for weeks due to maintenance issues, and when I told her about the noises I heard during the night, she forced a smile and said old buildings make strange sounds, but I noticed her hands shaking slightly as she typed something into the computer and avoided eye contact with me. That night I couldn't relax, so I placed my phone against the wall to record audio before trying to sleep. And at exactly 7:10 a.m., the tapping started again, louder than before, followed by slow, heavy breathing that seemed impossibly close, like someone was standing on the other side of the wall listening to me breathe. And I remember feeling my chest tighten as I stared at the ceiling, afraid to move or make a sound. Suddenly my phone vibrated with a text message from an unknown number. When I unlocked the screen, all it said was "stop recording," and at that exact moment the breathing stopped completely, leaving the room dead silent, and I sat there shaking, staring at the wall, realizing someone nearby not only knew what I was doing, but was watching me closely enough to react instantly. I checked out early the next morning, and as I pulled into the parking lot, I saw police cars outside the hotel. And later I found out officers had arrested a man hiding in the crawl space between rooms who had been living there for weeks. And although they never explained how he got my phone number, I've never stayed in a roadside hotel alone since that night. Story 2. When I was 19, my family stayed at a mid-range hotel in Florida during a vacation, and I shared a room with my younger sister. Everything felt normal until the second night, when I noticed a small red light blinking inside the smoke detector directly above our bed, and at first I assumed it was just a normal indicator light. But something about how it blinked only when we moved made me uneasy. I stood on a chair to look closer, and behind the plastic cover I saw a tiny camera lens pointed directly at the bed. And my stomach dropped instantly as I realized someone could have been watching us the entire time. Ezo unplugged the detector, wrapped it in a towel, and told my sister it was broken because I didn't want to scare her while I tried to figure out what to do next. That night, just after midnight, we heard the sound of someone slowly turning our door handle, stopping only because the safety latch was locked. And whoever it was stood there silently for almost a full minute before walking away. And I remember holding my breath, staring at the door, convinced that whoever installed the camera knew we had discovered it. The next morning we reported everything to hotel management, but they immediately denied any wrongdoing and claimed the detector was standard equipment, and when I insisted on calling the police, their tone changed completely, offering us a refund and asking us to forget the incident, which only made the situation feel even more disturbing. Police later confirmed the camera had been actively streaming video and audio to a local IP address inside the hotel, meaning someone working there had access to everything, including footage of guests sleeping, changing clothes, and talking proudly. And hearing that made my skin crawl in a way I still can't describe. Before we left, I checked the hotel's online reviews and found a buried comment from years earlier that said, "If you notice a blinking red light, leave immediately." And when I refreshed the page later that day, the review had mysteriously disappeared. Story 3. I worked the night shift as a front desk clerk at a downtown hotel in Chicago, and there was one room, number 417. That staff avoided because guests often complained about strange phone calls and unexplained knocking. But management always blamed old wiring and told us not to worry about it. One night, a man checked into room 417 just before midnight, and about an hour later he called the front desk saying someone kept trying to enter his room. So I checked the security cameras and saw an empty hallway, with no movement at all outside his door. At 3:40 a.m., the phone rang again, and this time the man was whispering, saying someone was standing at the foot of his bed, and before I could respond, the call cut off abruptly, leaving nothing but static on the line. Security rushed upstairs and found the room completely empty, the bed untouched, the luggage gone. But written in steam on the bathroom mirror were the words I never checked out, which made no sense because no one had entered or exited the room on camera. When police reviewed hotel records, they discovered the same name had checked into room 417 multiple times over the past decade using the exact same ID number, even though the guest would always disappear without officially checking out. The phone system still logs occasional calls from room 417 late at night, and whenever someone answers, all they hear is breathing and the slow sound of a door opening, even though the room has been empty for years.